So it seems, even in the preparation stages of the day the Austin Major takes place, that Valve devs continue to be hard at work as they've just pushed out a new update for CS2. Now this took place late last night, fixing a miscellaneous inventory bug, and that was it. That's a wrap. But in terms of other news, since CS2 devs have updated VAC, specifically the hardware in which their anti-cheat is running on, players have stated that CS2 as a game is either in a state of constant cheaters or none at all, depending on your trust factor, depending on your rank, depending on your region. One player might have a completely different experience with cheaters than another. Now what I will say, and what I found to be the most interesting about all this, is because of these recent player statements, I decided to go a little bit deeper. And what I found is that Valve upgraded from their old hardware to something new. And the old hardware and systems they had in place for VacNet was very old. Today's video, we're gonna break down Valve's new hardware for VAC, recent CS2 updates and the game's most recent changes, Steam servers and uploading inventories, alongside a bunch more. But before we go any further, I want to thank SkinsMonkey for sponsoring today's video. Are you bored of your current Counter-Strike loadout and want to trade it out for something different? SkinsMonkey has you covered. As a buying and trading marketplace, SkinsMonkey offers amazing deals and the fastest way to trade out your old skins for something new. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5 by spending $100 or more, as well as you also get a 35% deposit bonus when topping up your balance. With SkinsMonkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, the link will be at the top of the description down below. Now, firstly for today's video is last night's update. Valve just released new patch notes, but as most of you know and can see, there was no official blog post, just a shadow update. And for what this update fixed was the ongoing most recent inventory bug, where every time you'd boot CS2, the game would break showing you have new items in the game, but when you'd check, there'd be nothing new there. After this update, Valve have disabled the notification, so unless you have anything new, that notification's not going to be there, so you're always going to be good to go. And I think until a lot of people really pointed this out, I didn't really realize that this was on my game almost every time I'd boot up and every time I'd finish a game on Premiere. Now, updates like this in the past tend to not ever really have blog posts just because of their size. So for those who are wondering, this is pretty normal Valve dev activity. Now, for a problem that's lasted from the days of CSGO until now was the loading inventory error on Steam, and of course third-party sites. This was thought to have been fixed in the days of CSGO towards the end, but as of recently, after player reports, most people are stating that this is back. I've seen this across my YouTube channel, across social media, and people are asking me why this is happening. Essentially, why this happens is this is caused by an overload of people using Steam, and pretty much trying to do the same thing all at once. Essentially, the Steam servers won't allow this many people to do all of, well, what they're doing with trading, checking their inventory, checking skins all at the same time, which has caused this error. Now, what I will say about this is, yes, in one way it sucks, but in another way it's also good. That's because this is showing us that people are taking an interest within CS2 and are finally causing Steam servers and CS2 to have some sort of overload error when checking their inventory, which, like we just stated, in one way it sucks, but in another way, it's also good to see this many players involved within the CS community. Now, as it stands for VAC, this is where things get a little interesting. Taking a look at comments on my channel, posts from players in the community, and across social media, they state that VAC either feels 100% on or 100% off. The majority of the community can't come to an agreement with what's working and what isn't. Every player's situation seems to be different. What we can come to an agreement on is that Valve just as of recently changed some things behind the scenes, which explains, well, why there's two sides to the story. Valve just a couple of days ago, according to data miners and thousands of stating the game feels off, game followers suggested that Steam changed their hardware in regards to VacNet, which could very well explain the game feeling off and weird. Now, other parts to this is that there is a chance that Prime could be off like it used to be back in the days of CSGO. Now, some context for this is back in CSGO, sometimes it happened every other month, sometimes it only happened every 6 months. And this was also depending on the player. You couldn't really come to an agreement or conclusion of, well, how it happened in the first place. But what we could is that it was on Valve's end. Essentially, Prime would get mixed up, so a normal player that was never really reported, never cheated, shouldn't be in lobbies with cheaters. And for players who also bought Prime, they would be in lobbies with full-on blatant wall hackers, spin botters, and people who were in non-Prime. But I don't really see this happening here in CS2 at this very moment. But for some, it also could explain what situation they're in. Now, going a little bit deeper, according to this Reddit user, apparently Valve was using, and still is in some ways, using a GTX 1080 Ti. They were using these cards on their desktops to train machine learning back in the days of CSGO and even up until this point. Now, why they were using such low-end cards in today's terms, I'm not sure. I'm assuming they just did the job they needed without having to blow money in the bank. Now, moving forward, they will be using tons of data center GPUs, and this time will be more AI than actual hardware in terms of training for the system going forward. Now, with that change being said, this could very well explain, without a doubt, the recent issues on CS2's official servers. Now, what has also caught my attention with this statement is that Valve just last month has reportedly earned $97 million in keys alone, as there were 39 million cases unboxed in the month of May. Now, another Reddit user stated, let's see if Valve made a good investment with that money. And for some extra context, he continued to say that they allegedly bought new AI GPUs and completely replaced their old ones to upgrade machine learning. That being the anti-cheat, which also explains why VacNet is acting strangely, and that's because they're installing these new CPUs, at least I think. And just a little after this, we got to see the price of some of these new GPUs that Valve's reportedly using, and they cost a whopping $32,000 each, which that's a pretty big upgrade compared to the 1080 Ti's from a decade ago. But then again, that's a burger at McDonald's in comparison to their CS budget, just in this case income alone from this last month. Now let me know what you guys think. Are you on the side of cheaters, or are you having none at all? At the end of the day, Valve seems to be busy at work, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they have up their sleeve in terms of updates and content post Austin Major. Over the next few weeks, I wouldn't expect anything big since the major is now on and is going to begin later this afternoon. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.